You're right, everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to episode 2 of the Smart Signing series. Now, before we jump into the team, let's have a little refresh of the rules. We will identify 3 key positions that need to be improved and use the current transfer budget to sign or loan players to improve the team. I'm also able to move on a few players who aren't up to scratch and or move on players whose contracts are expiring in order to free up funds and open up the opportunity to sign a couple of extra players if required. And I will try to keep this as realistic as possible. No wonder kids go into teams that don't have the draw or knowledge of them to make them a world beater. Now, Juve have had a pretty torrid year so far. They found themselves crashing out of the Champions League, dropping into the Europa League. But not only that, they find themselves, at the time of recording this, 6th in Serie A, which is way off their ambitions. And a quick look at their squad at the start of the game will give you a little bit of an indication as to why. They've got a lot of players on the injury list, and not only a lot of players, a lot of very important players in long-term injury situations. Paul Pogba, obviously just come back from Man United, signed on a free and a big wage, very important to them. He's out for up to 5 months. Weston McKennie, a key cog in that midfield, is out for 6 weeks at the start of the game. Federico Chiesa, a massive performer, not just for Juve, but for Italy, out for 5 months with damaged cruciate ligaments. Wojciech Szczesny, their definite #1 goalkeeper, out for the first 3 months of the season. And Angel Di Maria, obviously, just signed from PSG. He's out for 3 months as well. Obviously, he's getting on, but still a very good player, and would be, or would have been, a key part of the squad's makeup. Also tie into that the fact that they have a massive 7 players in the last year of their contracts or on loan, and I'm not even including Locatelli and Moise Kean, who are signing at the end of the year. So they have got a massive issue in terms of not just the squad for this year, but the squad for next year as well. And if that wasn't enough, the cherry on the top is 35-year-old captain and Juve legend, you could say, Leonardo Bonucci. He's now 35. He's still very good. He's starting to lose his pace a little bit, though. And we're really going to have to look at the next player to come in and take his position, really. He's going to have a year, maybe 2, at the top level, but long-term planning needs to be happening at centre-back. And as in the previous video, I will be looking to move on 2 or 3 of these players whose contracts are up. I'm looking at potentially Alexandro. He's on £200,000 a week. It's going to be a big reinvestment. And Juve are already a club that are overspending on their wages. Also players like Carlo Pinsoglio and Adrien Rabiot. Very solid players, very good players, but I think for the money they're earning, or especially in the case of Adrien Rabiot, for the money he's earning, I think we can definitely reinvest and freshen up that midfield a little bit. Now, I'd say the assumed squad makeup would really fit into a 4-2-3-1, because that would get Chiesa, Paul Pogba and Di Maria all in positions that they can really affect the game, and they are 3 of their key players. But obviously, starting lineup is missing 5 of those key players. So I'm going to look at a slightly different system, and one that Max Allegri has actually turned to in real life. And that will be moving to a 3-5-2 system. This does allow us to get the midfield stacked. It gets Vlahovic up with a bit of support up front, especially whilst he's missing players like Pogba, Chiesa, Di Maria, who would obviously be the creators for him in that 4-2-3-1. Also allows us to get a bit more out of Filip Kostic, who is a new signing, and Cuadrado at right wing-back as well. 34 years old, in the last year of his contract, but still an elite player. I will test the waters, see if anyone wants to bite, but I really don't think that for the money that we're paying him, what we'd get back for him, I don't think we'd be able to replace him with anyone of that quality. And it does also give the flexibility of, when these other players are back fit, you can switch between a 4-2-3-1 and a 5-at-the-back system, whilst still having a very strong squad and allowing for a little bit more rotation. But for this particular smart signings, we are going to concentrate on a dynamic midfielder who could possibly play as a centre mid on attack, or as one of the deep line playmakers, or even as a box-to-box. Someone to drop the average age of the squad down a little bit, add a little bit of quality, add a little bit of class, and a good bit of work rate that can really work with the players that are already available. I'll also be looking at a left-sided centre-back, preferably a left-sided centre-back anyway. Someone who can work in this back 3 system, offer a little bit of support to players like Bonucci and Bremer, who are very good, but in the long term, maybe be the replacement for Bonucci. So a good young centre-back with tons and tons of potential. And whilst Wojciech Szczesny is a very good keeper, the backup options aren't the best, and I think a young option there that can take over from Szczesny over the next few years and maybe go on to surpass him. I think looking for a really good goalkeeper is going to be another key position for this squad. And if I've got a little bit of money left over, maybe we'll look at some backup for Kostic at left wing back, especially with Alexandro leaving, or potentially someone who's just a little bit more defensively solid than he is. He is a fantastic attacking output, but with his 8 tackling, 7 marking, and 8 positioning, you don't really want to be relying on him in defensive situations. So here is our slightly lighter looking squad. So the players that have left are Alexandro has gone to, quite controversially, title rival in Milan. He went for £5 million. Obviously getting his wage bill off the books was a big thing as well, but at 31 years old, I didn't want to give him a long-term contract and a big wage because I don't think he's going to improve at all, really. He's going to tie up a lot of wages. I think a younger, fresher left wing-back is going to be beneficial there. We also moved on Adrien Rabiot, who is a solid player, but again, with his contracts running out, I thought it would be better to sell now, reinvest that cash into a good young midfielder who can help be a part of the squad, but also drive on in the future. Carlo Pinsoglio left as well, freeing up a little bit of wages, as did Hamza Rafia from our B team. So let's work back to front, shall we? The first player I had a look at was Kamil Grabara from Copenhagen. A really nicely rounded goalkeeper. He's only 23 years old and available for a bit of a bargain price. 6'5", great jumping reach, great aerial reach, so he's really going to command his area and get those crosses, as well as being a good shot stopper with his reflexes and one-on-ones being very high. Great determination, perfectionist personality, as well as really solid mental attributes. Very, very good pickup. And in a similar vein, there is Andriy Lunin from Real Madrid, available again for under £10 million, another player that is 23 years old. Great determination, good personality, very, very well-rounded keeper, and obviously lots of high-end experience with Real Madrid as well. But the player I went for was Alban Lafont, a 23-year-old, again, goalkeeper with really well-rounded attributes, 17 jumping reach. He's got very nice actual goalkeeping attributes. His handling, his one-on-ones, his reflexes are all very good, but he rushes out. He's decent with the ball at his feet as well. Reads the game well, and we signed him for $22.5 million. Now, that was a structured deal, so it is spread out over the length of his contract, but I think he's fantastic for one very big reason. He's happy being a backup until Szczesny moves on. So you can still use Szczesny as your first choice goalkeeper for the first year, 2 years, as long as he's good for you. All the time, Lafont can be improving, getting cup games, getting league games, and just working his way into the side and turning into what I believe will be a very top quality keeper. He's already a good Serie A player, but could improve to a leading Serie A player. So slightly more expensive than the other two, but I think he's got that little bit more growth potential, and I think he could turn into a world-class goalkeeper. Next up, let's find ourselves a centre-back. The first player I had a look at was Igor from Fiorentina. He's a Brazilian left-sided centre-back, can play centre-back or cover on the left-hand side, which would be quite nice for that strength in depth at left wing-back and left-back. Really well-rounded, he's quick, he's physical, but he's 6'1" as well. So he's good in the air, he's good on the ball. But not only that, he's also got Serie A experience. But one thing that really kind of plays against him is the fact that he is a non-EU player. So whilst we have moved out a non-EU player, but I don't really want to stack the squad with players who, whilst being very good, aren't going to improve that much, that are a non-EU player. I think there are better options out there. And one of those options is Mickey van der Ven from Wolfsburg. Very affordable, under £8 million to sign him. Very versatile as well. He's quick, he's strong, he's 6'4", with a really well-rounded defensive and mental game. A couple of things I really like as well is he tries long-range passes and brings the ball out of defence. And with his vision, his passing, his technique, and his decision-making, I'm going to trust him to do that and make the right decisions. Roll into that as well. He's left-footed, plays on the left side, can cover at left-back and left wing-back. Another really good option. Kind of similar to Igor, he might be playing quite close to his maximum. So whilst a good pickup, I think there is a better option. And it is the option I went for. Gonçalo Inácio is a fantastic left-footed young centre-back. Only 20 years old, he's already playing at a really high level, but has tons and tons of space to improve. He did cost quite a bit more money, 34 million on a structured deal over the course of his contract, so it does break it down quite nicely, but I think we get a much better player. Whilst he's not the quickest, he is physical, he's good in the air, he reads the game exceptionally for a player at his age. Having a player that's really comfortable, bringing the ball out from defence, being on the ball, will allow him to be the long-term replacement, in my eyes, for Bonucci in that defensive line. And next up, I want to find a good versatile midfielder who could fit into pretty much any of these positions. Now, one player I really like the look of was David Fratesi, a all-action midfielder, can play in DM or CM, got good dribbling, good physicals, great, well-rounded mental game, as well as really solid attributes in his technical game as well. He can get forward, he can finish, he's decent in the air, he's good on the ball, good in the tackle, pretty much your quintessential box-to-box midfielder. He can do it all, but at 29 to 34 million, so as good as he is, he's just a little bit too much for Juve at the minute. Maybe one for the future though. But a player who would definitely fit our budget would be Gaetano Castrovilli. Still only 25 years old, incredibly talented all-round midfielder. Again, he can do everything. Great physicals, great mentals, great technicals, good in the tackle, creative, can finish, can dribble. Only downside is he is being treated for damaged cruciate ligaments, out for 6 to 7 months. He essentially misses the entire season. And if there's one thing that Juve don't need, it's more injured players. So I opted for 24-year-old Frenchman Maxime Lopez. We managed to pick him up on a structured deal worth £14 million, which was right in our wheelhouse. He's already valued at higher than that, so even if we sold him on at the end of the year, we'd more than make our money back. But what a player he is. He's not got any French international caps, but like the other guys, really, really well-rounded. He's not quite the finisher of the others, but physically, he's quick, he's agile, he's got great natural fitness. His mental game doesn't really have any weaknesses at all. Good work rate, he's creative, he's aggressive as well, so if you need someone who's got that little bit of fight in them in the midfield, he's going to be your guy. But technically as well, great technique, passing, first touch, he can dribble, his marking and tackling are actually pretty good as well. Now, whilst he's not a physical aerial dominance with his 5'6" frame, 8 strength and 4 jumping reach, he can pretty much do everything else. And with his abilities on and off the ball, he can play either as a DM, CM, or even as an attacking mid. And that'll really allow him to dovetail with the other talent at the squad and kind of maybe fill in a couple of different positions here and there. And finally, whilst Di Sciglio can cover at left wing back, he is more natural on the right. And I think bringing in someone to offer a little bit of defensive cover and just rotation option for Kostic on the left-hand side, let's find that guy. 25-year-old Brazil international Guilherme Arana was one of the options I looked at. A very, very well-rounded, really high-quality left-back / left wing-back, can even play left midfield as well. He's not the quickest available, but with a really strong mental game, a good work rate, and just very well-rounded technical attributes as well, he'd be a really good pickup for anyone looking to strengthen their left-back / left wing-back position. Similar to Igor though, with not a lot of growth potential, a fairly hefty fee, and another foreign, like international player spot, I decided not to go for him. A player I very nearly did get over the line though was Aaron. He is at Mainz. He's a very well-rounded player. Again, he's got some great technical attributes as well as some really good set-piece attributes. Free kick taking, long throws, his corners are really good as well, and his fantastic technique and crossing means that in set-piece situations, he's going to be a real danger. But he pairs that with a really solid mental game and a decent physical game, lacking a bit of real killer pace, but a really well-rounded and very affordable left-back / left wing-back. But once again, not the best growth potential. He would be a decent signing, and if I'm signing someone to be a bit of a squad player, I at least like to get them with a bit of growth potential where they can actually improve. So the player I did go for was Emanuele Valeri, signed from Cremonese for 4.5 million, which I think is a really good deal. He's a very well-rounded player, and also he's Italian as well, so it's great for registration, whether it be in Europe or domestically, works really well for that. But it's not just that, he's also a really good player. Can play left back, left wing back, or left midfield. He's got decent pace, he's 5'11", so he's got a bit of physicality about him. He can dribble, he can cross, but he's solid defensively as well. With his 14 tackling, high anticipation, high aggression, and like decent concentration and decision making as well, he can be relied upon in defensive situations, and with a good work rate and determination with his personality. He's not going to just dial it in, he's always going to give his all. So that's how we're looking right now with new boys Lafont, Inacio, Valeri, and Lopez making up the squad. Gives us some nice squad depth as well as quality going forward. But not only in that system, when the other players are back from injury and get their fitness back, they can slot perfectly into that 4-2-3-1. Inacio, Valeri, Lopez, and Lafont, all offering fantastic options in the squad and even an improvement going forward. So there we have it, guys. What do you think of my smart signings for Juventus? Now, I know there are loads of different ways you could have gone about this. You could have really strengthened the front line, could have strengthened midfield, could have just concentrated on defense. There are different plays you could have moved on, cashed in on. I'm going to be honest, this team at the start is a bit of a nightmare, so big props to anyone who's taken on the task at the start of the game. As always though guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new around here and you want to see more FM23 and other gaming content, and don't forget, if you want to catch me playing FM23 live, you can do so over on twitch.tv/VikingDan. I'm there live most evenings playing this very game. And if you do drop over, say you came over from YouTube, it'd be really nice to know that you found me through here. Anyways, that's going to be it from me, and I'll see you next time.